Don, when we talked before, you had an example, of a family. Talk about that for just a second. Again, this all sets the stage for why these things are so important.
Yeah, we were talking about fundamental fairness, and you show up to work every day with these folks, and whether it's a prenup or last will and testament, I love that, Paul. Someday it's going to come to fruition, and so it's important that everybody be treated fairly, open communication, etc. And so this group of individuals put together a buy-sell agreement. They had the attorney come in and he talked with them, and it was over several meetings, and they said, well, this is the way we're going. And one of the younger partners went in and said to the senior, I don't think this is fair, and for these reasons. And the senior partner said, okay, we'll take that into account. And they came back and said, well, this is the agreement. He says, I don't think this is fair. And they said, well, this is what we voted on. This is the way it's going to play out. He said, okay, fine. So a few weeks later, the younger partner came in and said, here's my letter of resignation. They said, well, you can't retire. And he said, yeah, the agreement says the first one out gets this price. I like the price. I'd rather you pay me than I pay you, so I'm leaving. And he did. He left. He was sat out for 3 years according to the non-compete, and he went back in business and competed against him very successfully. And it was just a matter of fairness.
Right. And it's, a lot of times one of the things that we talk about, and I think both of you do exactly the same thing, is let's take a look at that agreement and let's look at how it's going to, pan out when these things happen. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And,
yeah. And to Paul's point about the last will and testament, we're used to the diagrams to show people, well, if this happens, it goes to this trust. If this happens, it's divided, whatever. And most people like that because it's simple, it's on one page. Very seldom do I see anybody do that with a buy-sell agreement so that they understand exactly where it goes, how much they're going to get if this happens, if X happens, if Y happens. So the simpler we can make these things, because it's interesting how our clients are so successful and so few of them, they don't want to do this. That's why they hire us, right? And they're
Right.
lawyers and so forth. They don't want to get down in the weeds. They want the simplification. And so it's important that they understand and have folks that can put it on one piece of paper and say, here you go. And they say, that's not really what we talked about. The devil's in the details, right, Paul?
Oh, you bet. I tell people all the time, before I even read your buy-sell agreement, I say, do yourself a favor and conduct a fire drill. Make believe that a triggering event, you pick it, occurs. Now read your agreement and trace it all the way through to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And people say, my gracious, procedurally, this doesn't even make sense. I love, a classic example is when they need the appraisal done in 30 days. No business appraisal. I've commissioned hundreds of business appraisals in my career. The fastest I've ever seen one done was probably 50, 60 days, and that was rushing it.
right.
So
have you ever had a client be able to get the appraiser all the information in 30 days?
well, and no, that's right. Or not all of the material information. They like to hold out things. So you really sort of have to play sleuth and bird dog with your client and make them turn over the material information to the appraiser, because otherwise the appraisal won't be worth anything because it'll omit material information.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.